At exactly 2:17 a.m., an air traffic control tower received a transmission that would later confuse aviation experts around the world. The pilot of Flight 402 asked a simple question. "Control, do you see another aircraft flying right beside us?" The controller quickly checked the radar screen. "Negative, Flight 402. You are the only aircraft in the sky." But outside the cockpit window, there was definitely another plane. Flight 402 was a routine overnight flight traveling from London to New York. There were 183 passengers on board, most of them asleep as the aircraft crossed the dark Atlantic Ocean. Inside the cockpit, Captain Daniel Carter and First Officer Mark Lewis were monitoring the instruments. Then, suddenly, they saw something outside the window. A dark aircraft flying perfectly parallel to them. Same speed, same altitude. Captain Carter contacted the control tower again. "Control, do you have any traffic near our position?" The controller checked every radar system available, but the radar showed only one aircraft, Flight 402. But the shadow plane was still there. No navigation lights, no airline markings, just a dark silhouette silently moving through the night sky. And the strangest part, it was copying every movement of Flight 402. If Flight 402 climbed, the shadow aircraft climbed too. If Flight 402 adjusted its course, the shadow plane matched it perfectly. First Officer Mark Lewis leaned closer to the window, trying to see inside the other cockpit. Then suddenly, he froze. "Captain, there's someone flying that plane." Captain Carter looked carefully, and what he saw made his heart stop. The pilot inside the shadow aircraft looked exactly like him. Same uniform, same face, but something was horribly wrong. The figure's skin looked pale, and its eyes were completely black. Slowly, the figure turned its head and stared directly at Captain Carter. Suddenly, the cockpit radio filled with loud static noise. Captain Carter shouted into the microphone, "Control, that aircraft, it's..." Then he screamed, "It's looking at me!" On the radar screen, Flight 402 began to flicker. Altitude numbers started dropping rapidly. Controllers tried desperately to contact the plane. "Flight 402, respond immediately!" But the only reply that came through the radio was a whisper. "It's taking our place." And then the signal disappeared. Flight 402 vanished from radar forever. Search teams spent months scanning the Atlantic Ocean, but they found nothing. No wreckage, no passengers, no black box. It was as if the aircraft had simply stopped existing. But when investigators later reviewed the control tower recordings, they discovered something terrifying. After the pilot's final message, another voice appeared on the radio. A voice no one could identify. And it calmly said, "Flight 402, you are cleared for landing." But according to every radar system, Flight 402 was no longer in the sky.